Another day, another lie uncovered of Bill O'Reilly's. Today's lie concerns his story, often told over the past few decades, about having witnessed nuns being gunned down during his time reporting in El Salvador. We have selected just a few of the many times he has told this lie for you. We've got both references from his books that he's published and also from media appearances. Here is the first of those.
I don't think a lot of people understand. My mother, for example, doesn't understand evil. When I would tell her, hey, Mom, I was in El Salvador and I saw nuns get shot in the back of the head, she almost couldn't process it. She couldn't process it.
Yeah, she couldn't believe it because it turns out it's not true.
Because it's a lie. Because it's BS. And I love this. Oh, my God. That's awesome. Yes. And so we're going to show you more in just a second. But understand, before we read his full statement a little bit later, his argument is going to be that he sort of secondhand saw it in photographs.
Oh, yeah.
So as you continue to watch these, I want you to see if that's the interpretation you would get from it. Now, we just heard there, he said, I've seen it happen.
Yeah, he saw it shot in the back of the head. He saw them getting shot in the...
He saw it.
Right.
If you saw a picture of something, you don't just say, I saw it. You say, you've seen a picture of it.
You know that I was in World War II.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw Schindler's List.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was there.
Yeah, later on, you can then say that you too were there because you saw a video of Cenk Uygur saying he'd seen it in a picture.
That's right.
So, okay, here is the second video of him again saying that he saw nuns being gunned down.
I have always said consistently that women are more noble than men, that I believe the deity created women and gave them more nobility, inherent nobility than men. I've seen much worse behavior on the masculine side than the feminine side in my life. All right, I've seen guys gun down nuns in El Salvador. I don't believe women would gun down nuns.
I've seen guys gun down nuns in El Salvador.
Yeah.
And he'd been saying this for a long time. I mean, now he went back and forth on his story because it isn't true and it's harder to keep lies intact. That's the problem with lies, and that's why people get caught. And that's why, you know, when police do the third degree, people mix up their lies sometimes.
Exactly.
Right? But if you're telling the truth, it's easier to stick to it. And so now, of course, when he's asked about it afterwards, he's like, Jesus Christ, how am I going to explain this? I said, I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it in a picture.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I once saw a gigantic marshmallow man rampage through New York City. It was terrifying.
Yeah. No, but taking my point...
I'm going to write a novel about it someday.
Yeah. Take my analogy a little further. I mean, it would be like me saying, I was in Nam, man. I saw them shoot down all the Kong, you know?
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then there's Cenk. Well, you weren't old enough to be in Vietnam. What are you talking about? I'm like, no, I saw Platoon. I did.
Yeah.
I saw it. I saw it with my own eyes.
By
I
the
mean,
way,
that's
like,
crazy. That's not the same thing.
If the point that you're trying to make is there are evil things in the world, I might reference the killing of those nuns. Because we talked about it on the show before.
Right.
But you would say they gunned down nuns in El Salvador. You would not say, I saw them gun
I would
down
never
nuns.
say I saw them. And I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures of terrible things. I never say I saw them.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay.
Yeah, we would say we've seen video of ISIS executing people. We would not say we've seen ISIS executions. That's not how you would term that. And by the way, really fast, in that audio clip that you saw there where O'Reilly tried to spin it as that he was complimenting women, that they're inherently more noble, when he goes on to say that's why women don't understand inherent evil is because they're blessed by the Creator with a more noble like purpose or being.
That's why you need a Papa Bear like him to...
So he's saying women are too stupid to understand evil. Only men can understand evil.
By the way, the extension of that is that's why men need to be in charge because a woman wouldn't know how to deal with terrorism.
Just wouldn't understand it.
Because they float on a cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're so noble.
He's saying naive.
And let's remember, and the reason for some people that may say, oh, whatever, it's a small word, nitpick here and there. The reason this is so deplorable is because he used this as creating himself as this authority figure to talk about whatever the hell he's talking about. I was there, so don't argue with me about this. I'm the authority on this. Shut the hell up. And also, I'm a cool guy. All these things that are just nullified now, and then you can then sway people's opinions, which then leads to a lot of success you have in telling people that you're the authority on so many things. That's what the added layer that I think people may gloss over.
Yeah, I think we're almost giving him too much credit for even discussing his excuse at this length. It's preposterous. Remember, the whole point of this was that he covered 4 wars with a pen. He always talked about how he covered these wars. So he says, I covered El Salvador during the war, and I saw nuns get shot in the back of the head. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's not true.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he even have the pen at this point? We don't even know.
It might have been a pencil.
Yeah, it was an artist's interpretation of a pen. Now, as Cenk alluded to, the story over multiple tellings starts to fall apart, and so here is O'Reilly on a Hamptons TV, and he's telling a slightly different version of that story.
Now, a Jesuit priest told me that in El Salvador. It was interesting. I was talking to the guy because these nuns had been slaughtered in El Salvador, and I was down there right after that. They shot like killed a dozen nuns.
That is a much more accurate telling of the story.
They killed them,
Yes.
and the priest was telling me about it. Why would he have to tell you about it if you saw it with your own eyes, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, he's actually being accurate. And we showed you the tape in the past where he does his report from El Salvador, and he says the fighting is over, and he says the soldiers are now singing instead of fighting, okay? So that would be fairly definitive.
Yeah.
And by the way, again, with all the lies, including the one from yesterday, where the guy commits suicide just as O'Reilly's knocking on his door. What a laughable, hilarious lie, right? Okay. If you had seen the nuns get shot in the back of the head, I'm pretty sure you would have done a report about it. If CBS had sent you to El Salvador and you personally witnessed nuns being executed, that would have led the news that day.
Yeah,
okay?
that's noteworthy. You
Yeah.
write that in your journal.
Yeah, and yet there are no stories of Bill O'Reilly reporting from El Salvador. He was there. We have the tape.
Yep.
What did he forget to mention? Oh, by the way, Dan, I forgot to tell you, a couple of nuns got shot in front of my eyes. Anyway, let's move on. It's not in the tape because it didn't happen. But I'm telling you, people in the industry treated
Still thought
to this day. That's why this story is so important. They still think it's Fox News. And remember, so many of the anchors, producers, reporters that work in cable news, they rotate through the three different outlets.
wanna
So
end up
they've
there.
worked at Fox News. They have friends who work at Fox News. A third of them work in Fox News today. They all have a vested interest in pretending that it's news. So when you hit them across the face with this, they're like, that's really specific. That's not like an opinion, man.
No.
That's like Bill O'Reilly said he was in Dallas when he was in Florida, or
vice
the
versa,
reverse.
yeah.
He said he was in Florida when he was in Dallas. That's just a lie, right? He said he was in the Falklands and he wasn't in the Falklands. That's just a lie. So we can't call them news anymore. But Steve-O
I feel
actually,
bad for them.
Yeah. Steve-O actually came up with a good point earlier today. Maybe they should just do what wrestling did. You know, after they fought it for decades,
Totally.
WWF, they finally changed it to WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment. So maybe if they just it went from Fox News Channel, FNC, to FNE, Fox News Entertainment.
Yeah.
It's not news, it's news entertainment where we make up stuff. Like, so, because Jon Stewart said yesterday on his show, like, the emperor has no clothes. He's like, yeah, I've been seeing his dick for the last 20 years, right? But John, you did and we did, but the rest of the news industry, right, who profits off of Fox News or could one day profit from Fox News, were like, I don't see the dick. I don't know what you're talking about, right? And here, basically, we took the dick and we slapped them across the face with it. Sorry for that analogy.
Yeah.
And they're like, God damn it, that was a dick.
Yeah, and I saw it. Well, a picture of them being slapped in the face with a dick. Yeah, the entire news industry at this point, the news media, the responsible ones, are basically like a 9-year-old kid at Thanksgiving telling you, no, The Undertaker totally tombstone pile drives people. It's
No,
totally
I
real.
saw it. He was bleeding from the forehead, and he smashed him with a chair. He did. I saw it. I saw it.
One final point I want to make about all of these lies, the thing that unifies them, and any future lies that'll come up in the next week. And here's one way that you know definitively that he is lying about all of them. These are the most interesting things that happened to young Bill O'Reilly as he was reporting around the globe. And in every case, none of them merited writing about when they actually happened or reporting about them when they actually happened. They only became interesting to him a decade or more later when it became more difficult to prove that they were lies. In none of those cases did a young, aspiring newsman feel like he needed to talk about these momentous news events that he was witnessing.
Which would make him the world's worst reporter. He gets back from El Salvador. Dan Rather, who was the lead anchor at CBS at the time, is like, hey, Bill, what'd you see? Oh, I saw 3 nuns get shot in the back of the head. What the fuck? Why didn't you say so when you were down there? Well, why didn't we do a report on that? Oh, really? That's relevant? I didn't realize that. I was just going to write about it in a book 3 decades later.